What's up, YouTube? Yeah, what's up? It's the Lawyers and Podcast Show. Today we're talking about, I'm saying, women who don't want good men until they start getting older, until they start hitting the wall. Now, why is that? Why do women like to basically wait so long to try to find a man or what they describe as a good man? Well, they think on their prime, of course, that, oh, I got all this time and, I can wait a little while, because I got, I got a lot of time. I'm young. And, she start rejecting all these guys and stuff. So she said, I'm going to reject these guys. And, I don't want this guy. I don't want that guy. So they start, rejecting guys. And so after they start rejecting a guy, they basically, of course, as you know, the Chads and the Tyrones, Pookie and Ray Ray, I told you this, these are the women, these women take their pennies down for these guys. The good man is we boring. We basically, we're unattractive, we boring, we are no, we're not, they're not we're not their type. They see all that stuff, man. And so they had now women basically is having a hard time because men, of course, is having a situation where men are saying, well, we're just not going to just marry like we used to. Okay. And now the older women who basically thought that they were going to try to get a man, they basically are like, well, I'm crushed. I don't know what to do, And we know that men, of course, we don't care about how much money women make. That's what, Kevin Samuels had always, told women that. And they have this, this thing out here, talking about, well, it used to be embarrassing, especially for, they had this in the Western world where they were saying, well, a man might not just want a woman who make more money than him and all that stuff. No, what we're finding out, though, is that a lot of women are becoming broke or whatever. And so the problem with this is that when they had this trend going on, talking about how much women have made more than men and how, like, the strong and independent woman, they basically said that, we were intimidated by them and all that old stupid stuff. But now we see that young millennials and Gen Zs, they're not getting in relationships. Like I told you in the last podcast, they're doing what is called this quick get together, a hookup culture, as I told you. And that right there, is pretty much, it's the new phenomenon, I guess. This is what men are saying, that, this is kind of like something that they were saying that they never saw before, this trend that a lot of women are becoming so single, lonely. They basically is sad, depressed by themselves. And like I said earlier, women are not getting married. Men are not walking down the aisle. In fact, men have boycott marriage. And the reason why men have boycott marriage because the marriage laws are not fair in the Western world. So now, of course, along with the Me Too movement and other things. But here's the thing: we're talking about, though, why women basically start getting desperate after they're hitting the wall. Okay. And they pass all of these guys up, in their prime. In their prime, basically they got all of these men running up to them. Hey, I want to marry you. Hey, I want you. And It is a huge problem now for women now to think that they have plenty of time to get married. And now it's becoming an issue because, like I said, the high cost of rent is going up and women need help. A lot of women are struggling. And so men are not in those households because they were strong and independent. But the women who wait a very long time to try to find a mate, they are really in trouble because men, like I said, is refusing marriage. And so waiting a long time to walk down the aisle is foolish for women to think that they have options after they get older. And that's the problem. After that 21 to 25 mark is really, really, really where you should be in your prime, where you should be trying to find a mate. So when you get 26, 27 and beyond, that selection of marriage, or getting a man starts to die out, especially for Black women. But the money.com did an article like all a long time ago. And I wanted to show you how they keep on trying to get women to basically get them to think that it's not their fault here. But this is in 2016. It's called The Biggest Reason. Now we're going to fast forward to what's going on in 2024 today. But I want you to hear what these people were talking about as it relates to marriage and all that stuff back in 2016. The biggest reason women aren't getting married. The article writes, it's probably no coincidence that as women have gained economic power in recent decades, they've been less likely to tie the knot. You see that? Now, in 2016, this is how they were talking, women were talking. From 1980 to 2010, the proportion of American women who were married fell from 74% to 56%. Okay. Now, one researcher had looked more deeply into the reason for that trend. In a recent paper, Nayan Shevhav, a PhD candidate at the University of California, contends that women's rise in earnings relative to men's is responsible for about 20% of the decline in the marriage rate. Now, see, here is where the deception come in at. In 2016, you are talking about because women were growing in money and having gaining economic power, that this was the reason why they were not getting married. Okay. Now, the article goes on to write here, though the spike in job opportunities for women and their increased ability to control their own reproductive health has contributed to the decline in women getting married, the wage increase is the most significant factor, according to Shinhav. Specifically, every 10% increase in women's wages related to men's leads to a 7% decline in marriage. Okay. Additionally, this increase is most frequently seen among women who would have married lower quality spouses. Shiva writes, measured in terms of relative educational attainment and age. Now, if women do marry, they are more likely to seek out a partner with a higher level of education related to their own, as well as one who is at the same age of younger. Now, this is where the deception come in here. It talks there about that. This is what they were talking about in 2016. And we're going to fast forward to 2024 and talk about why this whole issue of, higher earnings among women is the reason that they're not getting married and they're choosing to stay single was a problem, and from the outstart that now we looked at the 2024, the year that we're in now. Okay, but remember, this article was this was in 2016. This is where women were talking about, well, yeah, we compete as men and we got money and now we choosing to stay single. We got options out here. We're a boss chick. We're independent. Here we go. The article goes on to say that since the growth in women's wages during the 30-year period has been more substantial than one man. Women have become increasingly important to the financial stability of the overall household. That fact have caused many women, even those of the lower socioeconomic status, to to postpone or forgo marriage. Shiva suggested. Shihab suggests a woman become less financially reliant on men for household necessities. The decision to marry become more dependent on factors like love, social norms, or the desire to start a family. It might seem counterintuitive to tout growth in women wages while the gender wage gap has remained relatively stagnant. For instance, a new report from Glassdoor found that women take home 8% less in base pay and 11% less in total compensation than men. However, women's wages have increased by about 30% over the past 3 decades. On average, they take home about 80% of the amount that men do, compared with only about 65% of men earnings in the 1980s. While it's positive development that women are less likely to get married just for financial security, the trend might still be bad news for women who support themselves. Wage gains for women are, by and large, not significant enough to keep up with increased prices. Now, that is the issue. Now we're going to fast forward to 2024. Now they were talking about, hey, now women were talking about that they have options. They were talking about they didn't need a man. They were talking about, of course, that we've been Me Too, men have been Me Too and all this. They were actually talking about the fact that because women were allegedly making all of this money, that this was the reason why they were not getting married and having children. Okay. Now, here's the problem now in 2024. Women are not necessarily now complaining about they are not having a partner because they're making more money or we are not intimidating against them. They have Me Too'd us to a situation where they have basically decided that we shouldn't approach them because we're creeps or we're scary. We basically, they got all of these words for it now. Okay. But a lot of women, like I said about Kevin Samuels in my previous videos and essay, I said, hey, they're now saying that they can't find a partner. Not because they're making a lot of money like men or making money to where they become alleged independent. But now we got plenty of videos, where women are basically crying because they need help financially, you see? And we told them that this Me Too movement and this feminine stuff was not going to help. And now you see them going broke. They're in a home by themselves. They need a man. And now they're getting old and nobody is there to help them. We have a lot of women, as I told you, who are going to be what we describe as leftover women. So I wanted to come on and make this video to talk about that now after after COVID and now the high cost of inflation, we see that women are struggling and having a hard time to pay their bills because there's a lot of these states don't have rental caps. So they can raise your rent as much as they want to. And if you're a single woman in a rental property or you rent out the house or you're paying a mortgage or whatever, and the inflation is hitting you, the cost of gas, the cost of your, not only your mortgage, but the cost of your car note or insurance and all that stuff is high now. And so now they basically are going on there talking about it as asking the question, Is this a trend to not be married? No, we told y'all. This is the Europeans' way of marriage. We as black men don't agree with it. We told y'all that, and y'all women and black women kept on listening to that stuff. Now, when it comes to white women, Hispanic, Latino women, okay, they're a little bit different, but still, yeah, even for them, they're not doing anything right now. As far as their men are dodging them. Their men are talking about, a lot of things here. So I'm trying to figure out, well, where is this trend going for women to basically wait so long until they get married and get old, and now they don't have a support there. You see, and this is because their fault. That's because they chose the Pookies and the Ray Rays. Um, they basically they chose these guys. They chose to give Pookie and Ray Ray and Chad, uh, you know, their bodies at a very young age and even in their prime. And now they have to, pay for that, because now if you're independent and you're telling people, men, that you're independent and you don't need them, men are going to walk away. They're not going to approach you, you see. But hey, you're waiting too long to basically get married. You're waiting too long to get married. And when you wait too long to get married, that's going to be a problem, because you think you got a lot of time. It's very, very, very dangerous. Okay. And so now we have to understand that there's also low value men. Low value women out here too. So again, like I told you, it is not going to work, because women once got so much that things that they want in men. They got so many. They think they got options, but they don't. They don't have a lot of options, and they think they do. Okay, and so we see that gyms are going bankrupt. 60% of men are boycotting gyms. We are not in churches. We're not going to clubs. We're not basically approaching women. And now the women are saying, what the hell is going on with these men? Now, I do see a lot of relationships still going on. It's just that these other people who are on I guess it's just a lot of people who are on YouTube or on social media who basically is saying, hey, I need y'all to start approaching us. Okay. So it's all talked about. It's all talked about there. But what we have to understand is that when you wait a long time to make yourself available, I think that's what really the whole problem with just waiting too long to make yourself available. I think what happened though is that women, like I said, they have options, and they get into that panic mode as they age around, that panic mode. What Kevin Samuels called a danger zone. After 25, you got 26, 27, and on up. I think though that it really will get worse, because like I said in my other previous videos, 61% of of women will be single by the year 2045 or 2050, actually, 2050, 2065. And so that is very dangerous, very dangerous. And so it's a huge problem because we have learned so much about what love is, what marriage is supposed to be about, and we just have issues here. We use money, and women use money, and men use money, and women use degrees as a way to try to leverage on what they bring into the table. And degrees is not a part of anything. And so you got a lot of these people on YouTube trying to tell you what love is and what marriage is. None of them don't know what the hell they're talking about. You're just wasting your time, you know. So that is the truth. And so, yeah, but leave your comments. I wanted you all to, tell me what you think. I just had to come on and just tell me what you think about the topic, and like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for listening.